shouldn't be the favorite to go into this year. The NFC is for the taking, and the AFC, in my opinion, if you can make it out of the NFC, you probably have a great chance of winning in the AFC, even with knowing that Pat Mahomes and those Kansas City Chiefs are out there on that side.
I'm with LeVar 100%. I mean, they're definitely the favorites in the NFC, and I love what Tom Brady did with the kicking the ball and you know, snapping at his teammates and slamming his helmet. When you're on that football team and you see a 44-year-old guy who's won 7 Super Bowls, still with that type of passion, that type of drive, he's acting like a guy who's never won a ring and who's criticized on shows like this daily because he's never won. When you see that type of motivation, how in the world can you relax? How in the world can you rest on your laurels when you see this guy who's so accomplished, already known as the greatest player to ever play the game or the greatest quarterback? You can't relax. And so that puts everybody on edge and keeps everybody knowing, look, we got to go ahead and repeat. We always talk about getting complacent after winning a Super Bowl. Tom Brady is not going to let that happen to his team. And beyond that, you know, look, obviously he's got everybody's respect on the coaching staff, in the locker room, in the organization. But beyond that, what also enables Brady to do things like this and for it to be positively received is the fact that he's coachable. All right, he'll take criticism himself. We saw last year, everybody was talking about, wow, is Tom Brady, you know, he and Bruce Arians. I mean, Bruce Arians had the audacity to be critical of Tom Brady on a few of his passes. Brady didn't care. Brady was fine with it. Their relationship seems to be great. He's coachable. And when other players see that, when you go off like Brady did yesterday, they understand, look, he's not just the guy on the ivory tower yelling at us. He'll take it himself. And then beyond that, he's self-deprecating too. Like, we all saw the video on his Instagram with Chad Ochocinco a few days ago, and he poked fun at himself. He's trying to improve his Madden ranking in his sprints and 40 time and all that. So he has fun. All of those are the things that make teammates like you. And so when you do have an episode like this, they respond to it the right way. So I think it was great, and I think that's what they needed if they were having a bad practice. But, yeah, LeVar said it. All 22 starters back. They're going to be more confident, have more swag, but yet still be on edge, as I just talked about. They know they can beat everybody in the NFL. I think they're coming out with something to prove. I love that they had everything, right? They got the great receiving core, the great quarterback, the great defense. I love that they added Gio Bernard in the backfield because the one thing they lacked was a pass catcher out of the backfield. Ronald Jones and Leonard Fournette were great running the football, but they didn't have that receiver out of the backfield for Brady like James White in New England. So that's just one more weapon he's going to have. Look, they averaged 33 points a game over their last 8 wins, including the playoffs. I'm sorry, 33, almost 34 points a game. They are going to roll offensively. And so, yeah, they got to be the favorite.
Yeah, I like really what you said about leadership, Broussard, and Tom Brady. Because yesterday I got crushed on this show by a certain someone named Chris Broussard for going after someone in the NBA for not being a leader. Oh. And what LeVar said about the leadership from Tom Brady really in Tampa is just phenomenal. The guy is at 44, still leading by example. And I want to remind everybody, last year Tampa was 7-5 at one point, okay? They lost to the Chiefs. It was a national TV game. And if you guys remember closely, the announcer Tony Romo came out and said, you know, they're not doing enough play action. They're not doing enough pre-snap motion. That came from Tom Brady. It's pretty clear Tom Brady was unhappy. There was a tug of war, as Chris said, between Arians and Brady over how to run the offense. And they were struggling. They were 7-5. Remember, these are the guys who lost to the Bears. They lost to the Chiefs. They had some bad losses. And Brady took it upon himself, not to make an issue through the media, but to go through Romo after that loss to the Chiefs, because of what Brady said to Romo. Romo announced it to everybody. they didn't lose a game. They ran the table, smoked everyone. Their play action numbers went significantly up. They were unstoppable on offense. I personally think there is an undefeated play for Tampa Bay in the regular season this year.
Whoa.
The division, LeVar, listen, you've seen that division, okay? Who's beating them in that division? And don't tell me the Saints and Jameis Winston. I know they beat them twice last year in the regular season, but after the Bucs got them in the postseason and Drew Brees retired, that division's a wrap. They are going to roll in the division, and the schedule is not that difficult. As Chris said, they added Gio Bernard. The entire defense returns. Listen, when you can draft a right tackle last year, Tristan Wirfs, he plays every snap for drop-back passes and allows 1 sack, you're doing something right. Tampa Bay is really a dominant team, and if you remember closely, Brady tried to go undefeated with Bill Belichick in New England. It got derailed in the Super Bowl. Can you imagine what happens if Brady is able to pull that off in Tampa? I think it's certainly in play. The gamblers agree with me. They are the favorites to come out of the NFC. LeVar, you know the second favorite team to come out of the NFC?
Who?
The LA Rams, who have a new quarterback, right? A new defensive coordinator.
No
Number
backfield.
3 is Green Bay with dysfunction all over the place. Continuity in Tampa. LeVar, Tampa's got to be the team.
I think Green Bay is going to be an interesting one. I think you got to pay attention to Green Bay. I like the Rams being a pick, even though they don't have a solidified backfield now, losing both 1-2 free agency, 1-2 injury. They have a couple question marks along the front of their offensive line as well. But, you know, one thing, it takes me back to a story. You know, I played against Tom Brady in college, and in fact, Tom Brady was in my draft. I wasn't in his until now. Now, today, I was in Tom Brady's draft, but back then, Tom Brady was in my draft. One thing I can recall about Tom Brady was when I saw him as a player, it was always an even-keel person. It was always somebody who had confidence in what their ability was and their ability to lead. I saw that in college. I didn't see it to the level that I saw it in the pros, but once I was around him in the pros, it was a different dude. His maturity level and his understanding of how this game works and what it takes to be a champion, it morphed and it evolved into something much more than any other athlete that well, I've been around and I've experienced spending time with. It's not a surprise. It's not an accident. It's not a mistake when somebody has success over and over and over and over again. So when you look at where Tom Brady is, you heard the comments not too long ago where he said, how do you keep this bleep over bringing me in? And it made a big stir, and everybody wanted to know who it was. It doesn't matter who it was. It doesn't matter. You know what matters? Is that after all this time, after all of the accomplishments, Tom Brady still is wired in a way where he figures out how to hit himself right where it hurts. He's the only one that can do it. No one else can do it. So all those years ago, when a LeVar Arrington goes number 2 in the draft and Tom Brady's like, how does he go number 2 in the draft? I'm still here. We get to another round. This guy goes, how's he come off the board? You're going to take that bleep over me? Okay. All these years later, after being that guy in the NFL draft, he is still finding a way to have a problem with what somebody has done to him. To me, I love his mentality. If you're a player, you love that mentality. In fact, it's infectious. I'm going to pick up on that mentality. That's the thing about it. Tom Brady can be Tom Brady by himself, and that's going to be a really, really good thing. But when you're Tom Brady and that becomes infectious to other guys, and now they have a chip on their shoulder like, wait, somebody overlooked me the same way. Wait, I could have did more here. I thought that if I did this, but it was really if I did that. It's the clarity that Tom Brady provides to guys that he's around that is why he has the impact on people that he does. I love guys like that. I love coaches like that. One thing about going into the weight room, I love weight coaches that are like that. I don't want to see a weight coach that weighs 500 pounds telling me to do the right form and how to run and how to lift. I don't want to see it. Don't get in my ear with that. You do to draw up what you draw up. Let me go. Give me another guy. All right. When you see a guy that goes through it with you, he'll do the lifts with you, he'll do the weight with you, can be actually stronger than what you are, you respect it differently. Tom Brady's leadership, hits differently. And that's why him throwing his helmet down isn't a tantrum. Him kicking the ball isn't him being disrespectful or being a diva. He's setting a tone like we're going to be some bad MFers, and we're going to be bad MFers together, not me being a bad MFer by myself. I think it's dope, and they definitely have the right mindset going into this season
I like
to repeat.
The subtle flex, LeVar, about how you were the #2 overall pick. I had forgotten that, Chris. I don't know if you had as well. But
It's forgettable, you know? It's
I
forgettable.
had not forgotten that.
I appreciate that,
That
Chris.
was the LeVar Arrington draft.
Indeed.
It definitely was. But look, I know, we went at it yesterday, LeVar, and we will go at it later, I'm sure.